Hey guys, Dylan here, and today we are reading a story called Sonic Adventure DeadX, and with a name like that, you can be sure this is going to be the edgiest thing you've read in a while. Hello, my name is Jake, and I want to share a story about a game I loved playing during my childhood, and that's how a lot of these stories start out, shockingly. Well, not really a story. Well, thank you for telling us that this isn't a story. I know your writing is terrible, but thank you. What I'm going to share with you is an experience I had playing the game. Oh, so it's an experience, you're hyping me up. That game was Sonic Adventure DX. The first time I bought this game was for my Nintendo GameCube. The game I knew and loved dearly was like this. And then he tells us all about the fucking game, and that's not needed, so I'm gonna skip that because I don't want to read all that. He literally tells you everything about the game. That is completely pointless filler. Back then, I wanted a new game that was coming out, so I sold it to GameStop. What game did he want? We don't know. To buy another game. And yes, that's what you do at a GameStop. A couple years later, I found Sonic Adventure DX for PC. Why didn't you just get it for Steam? It was marked down to $5 at the time. I got my copy of Adventure DX on Steam for $2. I bought it then and there, and after installing it, the game playing it was nostalgic for me. I remembered so much from the game. Yeah, you just told us. Soon after beating it many times, I left it alone for a while and went to other games like Team Fortress 2. Please don't tell us more about Team Fortress 2. Some time had passed, and I went back to Sonic Adventure DX. I wanted to learn how to speedrun it for Twitch. Oh, so you're a Twitch streamer. That makes you even worse. I started the game and started practicing glitches and shortcuts. I figured out how to skip the first level where you have to save Tails. Soon after skipping level 1, I jumped straight into the level where you go to the carnival. At that point, my game started doing small glitches like Amy talking in Japanese. It was odd because I didn't change the language setting. Needless to say, I went back to the menu, and what would you know? It changed. Ooh, what a shock. I swapped it back to English and got back to the game. After I fixed it and beat the level, everything seemed normal. That was until I went to the Red Mountain stage. I started the level like normal, and going through I saw a few enemies didn't notice me like the monkeys normally throw bombs. They seemed to be still and were just standing there, T-posing I assume. I ran past them trying to make good time, but still, most of the enemies were not moving because that's the typical Creepypasta thing. I figured it was just a glitch because I'm an idiot. On this stage, you have to get out of a volcano before it fills with magma. Thank you for telling us how volcanoes work. I noticed the ring men in the locked cages were acting different than before. Normally, they stand there with a slight bouncing animation, but this time they were banging on the cages. They wanted to get out. That made me stop and think, why are they doing that? Maybe skipping the first level unlocked a hidden animation. That's not how that works. I waited a moment, but there was nothing really changing. So I finished the level. After Red Mountain, I began Sky Chase stage. It was odd though, because the cutscene didn't activate. It immediately started the level, and Sonic wasn't riding the tornado. He wasn't riding the tornado, which was damaged. Well, what does that mean? Was he hovering in the air? Was he spinning around in circles? We'll never know. And there was no driver. Well, there's no driver, and he's not riding the tornado, so why even bring it up? I completed the level, and minus the glitches and no dialogue, everything played normal. That's not normal. I knew Eggman's ship was the next, like the previous level. The cutscene did not play either. I hadn't pressed any buttons for it to skip, but I pressed on as normal. That's not normal. Shortly after, I reached Sky Deck stage, but the game became unresponsive for a few minutes. Why would you stand there for a few minutes and watch it, and then start it back up? I would have gave up and reset my computer. I noticed that a few things were missing, like rings and capsules. I figured it must have broken the game trying to exploit the glitches. That's not how games work. I continued the level looking for the end, but most of the enemies were gone, and Big Cannon wasn't firing. Then I decided to quit the level, but I found the pause menu was gone, but the game was still paused. When I had unpaused the game, it was lagging and jerking. Jerking is not the expression I would use, but thank you. I went to jump on a platform, and I had died in midair, even though I hadn't hit anything. I thought that maybe the enemies were invisible or glitched. When I returned to the checkpoint, I noticed Sonic's hands were gone. Ooh, spooky, now he can't pick up shit. And upon further inspection, they were. The way to be redundant. It was an odd sight, not really, but I decided to continue and completed the stage. Instead of going to the next level, it loaded Windy Valley. I thought to myself, maybe I'll stop practicing and play some other characters. I went to the story. I thought you were trying to speedrun, but whatever. Select menu, but something was wrong with Sonic's and Tails and Amy's pupils were missing. Ooh, spooky. It was really starting to freak me out. Me too. I went to look at Knuckles and his head and arms were missing, so it's just a torso floating there with some legs. I scrolled over the Big the Cat and Gamma. Way to tell us more stuff we don't care about. But nothing had changed about them. Oh, thank God they're saved. I began thinking this is not normal. Oh, you think so? Anyway, I chose to play as Tails because nothing matters. When I got into the game, it froze and loaded back to the main menu. I wondered why it sent me back. I tried to play as Tails 2 more times because this guy is the definition of insanity. I stopped trying to play as Tails and went to Sonic. And why didn't you try anyone else? Now Sonic was glitched. He was glitched already. He started having erratic movements, so now he's just spazzing out, dancing everywhere. I made my way back to Station Square into the first level, Emerald Coast. Sonic's running animation had gotten worse. When he was running on the beach, heading for the first ramp, Sonic fell through the ground and died. That's completely normal, actually. The level restarted as I jumped past the same spot with a spin dash. I fell through the decks. That's also normal. Then Sonic's animation started spazzing out. Oh, he actually used the word that I used. More than regular speed. And died. I'm wondering what's going on, and why can't I get past this area? I tried again. You're obviously Aaron from Game Grumps. I used the spin dash to skip to the next loop and made it finally after multiple attempts. I assumed you ran out of lives, but whatever. I made it to where Tails is, but then the game started lagging. It's under extreme heavy load. Tails was there, but he was laying face down. I was thinking, is Tails dead? Ooh, spooky. I continued on, but then when I got to Tails, Sonic froze in his tracks. I couldn't control him anymore. He just stood there staring at Tails' body. And then the game crashed to the desktop. What happens next brought me... Wait, what? What happened next brought me nightmares. Oh yeah, because a spooky game is definitely going to give you nightmares, especially a spooky Sonic game. I restarted the game and loaded my save file. Now things have changed. Again, Sonic and Tails and Amy's hands were gone. Who cares? Quit ripping off Ben Drown. I found this rather upsetting, but I continued on because I'm Tom, not Jake, to play as Sonic again. The game loaded up inside of the first level, very end where you find Tails. Tails was still laying there, and his model was covered in a lot of red. It looked like blood. Hyper-realistic blood, I assume. Sonic has done complete level animation, but he didn't say anything, as the parts of his model were still missing. So if he doesn't have a mouth, then he can't talk. That's how video games work. The game then cut to black, because that's what all these spooky games do, and it was back to the main menu. I tried to go to character select to play as Sonic, but it wouldn't let me play as Sonic. Same as Tails a while ago. Then I tried to play as Tails, but it didn't work either. Then I chose to play as Knuckles, and it loaded the same as it normally would. I expected the game to go back. Who fucking cares? Oh my god, this is Sonic.exe. I hate this. Then I started playing ahead for a while. Hahaha, funny because he doesn't have a head. Story, Casinopolis, but it didn't load a level. Instead, it loaded the pool area. Then I went to Emerald Coast because Knuckles can do that. Where it loaded, I decided to try to play the level, but surprisingly easy to play. Then I skipped amounts of the level gliding. I'm bored. That's why I'm reading it like this. When I reached the end of the level and headed to crash site of the game, it started hanging graphical issues. Hanging, not having. Hanging graphical issues. Knuckles' model started stretching and stringing out of the stage in strange ways. I reached the crash site. I saw the destroyed tornado and Tails standing there, and his model was covered in red and his hands were jagged and crushed. His tails were stretched and mangled and his eyes were the same as before. Just before I reached Tails, Knuckles fell into the ground and the game background started flashing black and red, giving me a seizure. Thank thank you. It's trying to pull its best Virtual Boy impersonation. What just happened? As I thought to myself, I left my PC for a short while. It burned up because you left it crashed, and tried to think of what happened. Wow, you're that dumb. Since this, what I saw, sent chills down my spine. That is an actual sentence he wrote. I think started thinking. Wait, what? I think started thinking. I think started thinking? What the fuck? I think you mean I then started thinking. Did I cause Tails to die after skipping the first level? I got back to the PC. It was back at the main menu for Sonic DX, but the music wasn't playing. Then I decided to play more and figure out what is happening. I went back to the main character screen and Sonic model was normal. Then I moved to Tails and jumped back to his model was like it before in a grass site. Who cares? I then chose to play as Tails and the game loaded up, but it was skipped to the first cutscene that led to the crash and being saved by Sonic, but Sonic was not there. And it showed the mangled mess of Tails. I couldn't bear looking at it. I then ended the game, then deleted the save file. Ever since then the game worked as normal because I don't know what the fuck this story was. Nothing like that ever happened again because Tension is dead. But I won't ever forget about what happened then. I still play the game, but I'll never do those glitches again. So what was the lesson today? Get the Steam version of Sonic DX and this story sucked. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a while since I did a Crappypasta. If you want to see more Crappypastas, tell me down in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really like it, share it. If you want to see more, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Before the credits roll, I thought I'd give a shout out to my multiple ways of making money. YouTube is starting to slowly sanitize the platform, making it harder for people to make money on edgier content like I do. So I'm reminding you guys that I have a Patreon. The Patreon has plenty of reward tiers, including seeing my podcast early and possibly getting onto the show if I can fit that into the schedule. I have video recommendation tiers that you can try to get into, and if Patreon isn't your thing, I now sell merchandise. This month we have Sonichu and Rosachu Valentine's Day themed shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies. And if all else fails and my YouTube falls apart, I always have a BitChute account. So remember to check out all these different things in the description below.